Okay, dear student friends, here again we shall have the comparison between HVAC and HVDC, right? Based on some other parameters which we have not seen in our previous discussion, right? So now let us see what are those parameters of comparison when we take HVAC and HVDC, right? So now the first one here is the issue related to stability. All of you know that it is the ability to operate all the equipment in the system in synchronism, right? So this is called as the stability, and uh, till the steady state stability limit, the machines will operate in synchronism, right? Because every system has got its own steady state stability limit, right? As long as the machine is within this limit, it will operate in the synchronism with the other things, right? But what happens is large disturbances, right? Whenever the system is subjected to a severe fault or a switching transients, whatever it is, right? Whenever a large disturbance, which is called the transient stability limit, right, makes the system unstable, right? So therefore, when you compare the HVAC system and HVDC system, right, definitely a DC transmission system inherently does not have any stability problem because it has nothing to do with the frequency. The stability of the system mainly depends upon the frequency aspects. So therefore, definitely, as long as the DC transmission system is concerned, generally inherently it has it is out of the stability related issues, and you can see in this particular diagram that as you go with the increase in the value of the distance, right? So definitely the AC system has got some problems with respect to the maximum transmittable power because of the stability issues, whereas the distance is not a matter as long as the DC transmission is concerned when you speak about the stability related issues. So this is the simple thing as long as the stability is concerned. Now similar to that, we will look into one more aspect. After having seen the stability, we will look into the circuit breakers. So now this is really going to be a negative point as long as the HVDC transmission system is concerned, because in AC system we have got the natural zero, right? So whenever the zero crossing takes place, you can open the circuit breaker contacts in order to make sure that the spark and other things are, they do not become severe, right? But this is not the case in case of your HVDC system, wherein you have a large constant magnitude of the current which is continuously flowing, right? And you never have the current zero here in the normal mode of operation. So you will have to forcibly bring the current to zero from a large value, and you have plenty of problems associated with the circuit breakers. But here one important solution is that when you speak about the you know uh, converters on either side, okay, so now this is the rectifier and inverter configurations, and they have their own control strategy or the control mechanism, right? So these controllers are so sophisticated, so accurate, that whenever there is some problem in the system due to fault or something like that, they should be capable of quickly responding to these faults in order to feel the less necessity of the DC circuit breakers, right? But still you can see here the circuit breakers with respect to DC system is always considered as a lacuna or the limitation as long as you compare it with the AC circuit breakers. So this is another point to be noted here. And the next one is, importantly, the power per conductor and per circuit. Now, this is another important point to be noted when you have the similarly rated HVAC system and HVDC system. In what way we will have the comparison of the power per conductor and power per circuit, right? So now, if both the currents, AC as well as DC currents, are limited by same temperature rise, we can say that IDC is equals to IAC RMS, right? So now, if you take the value of the voltages from the point of view of the insulators, right? VDC is equals to root 2 VAC RMS if the insulators to withstand the same peak values of the voltage. So you have got a DC system, you have got a AC system, right? So now if you have the two criteria, one is the temperature rise to take the current into consideration, another is the insulation level to take the voltage into consideration. So if you want to have the similar performance in terms of the temperature rise as well as the insulators, then you will have to fulfill these two equations. IDC is equals to IAC RMS and VDC is equals to root 2 VAC RMS, right? Now we will take these things from the point of view of PDC per conductor and PAC per conductor. So PDC is nothing but VDC into IDC, or you can also it as PD is equals to VD into ID, and PAC or PA, which is taken here as VAC into IAC into cos pi, or VA into IA into cos pi. Okay, so now if you take the ratio of these two equations, PD and PA, you will get VD into ID divided by VA cos pi. And now for the same power to be transmitted, you will have this ratio PD by PA as root 2 divided by cos pi. So this is a very important point to be noted. If you substitute the value of IDC and VDC in terms of IAC and VAC, you will get the ratio of PD divided by PA equal to root 2 divided by cos pi. So now this particular equation tells us how we will have the comparison of AC system and DC system for the same amount of power to be carried by the conductor and for the circuit. Now comparing the three-phase three-conductor line with a bipolar conductor DC line. So generally we take bipolar only, not the monopolar or homopolar, right? We will take bipolar only. So if you consider a bipolar DC system with a three-phase three-conductor AC system, the power capabilities of the two circuits is equals to PD becomes 2PD because there are two conductors here, PA becomes 3 into PA because there are three conductors here, right? So if you take the ratio again, PD divided by PA, so that will become 2 into PD divided by 3 into PA, so that will become 2 by 3, and PD to PA is 3 by 2, so we are going to get this ratio equal to 1, very importantly. So that means both the lines carry the same power, right? When both the lines carry the same power, let us have certain conclusions or the inferences drawn with respect to this system and bipolar DC system. First thing is that the DC lines are simple in design. This is a very important point to be noted, right? Because you can do it with the help of only two conductors. So therefore, DC lines are always simple in design as there are only two conductors required, right? And the overhead lines require only 2/3 of the insulation as required by a AC line, right? Towers are simple, cheaper, narrower, and losses are only about 2/3 of that of AC system. That means only about 67% of the total losses are incurred in the case of HVDC system compared to a similarly rated HVAC system, right? And there are certain other factors also which you need to consider. The power limit of the overhead AC lines are limited by the other factors than the heating, right? We have already seen some of the points, skin effect, it may be corona effect, or there may be some other parameters as well, right? So therefore, generally by considering all these things, right, we can have the ratio of DC power per conductor to AC power per conductor to be as high as a ratio of DC power divided by ratio of AC power to be as high as almost equal to 4, right? So this is what is one important conclusion which you can draw when you compare the AC power as well as the DC power per conductor and per circuit. Okay, so now the next point which we have to look here is the ground return, right? Now we have seen the stability issues, we have seen the circuit breaker issues, and also we have seen the power related issues. Now the ground return, right? A two conductor DC link is more reliable than the three conductor AC link due to the ground return in case of the fault or the conductor, because a three conductor AC system does not have the neutral, right? So it is going to be a delta system, but a two conductor DC link, right, you will have a better reliability because you have got the ground return, right? Not possible with AC due to high impedance and radio interference. But one thing is that when we speak about the monopolar DC link, you can see here this is called the monopolar DC link. The diagram is not very clearly visible. You can see only the pole here, right? But in case of the monopolar DC link, we have the problem with the ground return, and that cannot be called as the reliable system. But when I speak about the comparison between a three conductor AC link with respect to a two conductor DC link, definitely you can have the comparison between these two in terms of the reliability, wherein your DC link is definitely more reliable than the AC link. Okay, so this is as long as the ground return is concerned. Then the next one is about the terminal equipment. Again, here you have got the question mark as long as the DC transmission is concerned, right? So the DC terminal equipments are very expensive, though they are very reliable, right? So nowadays with the advance in the power electronics technology, probably the cost is very rapidly coming down, but yet if you compare the AC transmission system with the DC transmission system, the terminal equipments are very expensive, but they are very accurate, reliable, and they can operate even under the adverse conditions depending upon how sophisticated your control system is, right? Designing the control circuitry also becomes increasingly complex with the power rating. As you go with higher and higher range of the power, then definitely the associated control circuit becomes too complicated. So this is one one more drawback along with what we have taken it for the circuit breakers. Okay, so now next point is the harmonics. Okay, so whenever we speak about the converters present, then definitely there are harmonics, right? The converters used to produce the harmonics on both AC and DC side, and so you require the harmonic filters. The additional cost of the harmonic filters also has to be borne, right? But sometimes you can have the capacitors which are there for the compensation purpose. They can also play the role of the filtering, right? So that all depends upon the very design. It is not as simple as it is claimed, but you will have to have a very accurate and proper designing techniques to be followed if at all you want to have the capacitors to play the dual role here, right? Of course, the harmonic is also one of the lacuna or the drawback as long as your HVDC system is concerned. Okay, so now then one more important point here, the last point which I am going to discuss in this particular slide is as the control of tie line power, right? So here what I mean by that is the contractual obligations are to be met. What I mean by the contractual obligations is, so now you have got a lot of deregulation in the power system taking place. You produce the power somewhere here, you want to sell your power here. In between you have got some transmission corridor which does not belong to either you here or the receiver here, right? But still it is possible for us to make of this transmission infrastructure because of the deregulated power system which is being used nowadays, right? So now whenever you have the power to be transmitted from one side to another side, when you have got a long distance, in between you will have to have a lot of bottlenecks, right? So the frequency related issues will come, stability related issues will come, the other lines which are parallel, right? So they may have some issues with respect to the neighboring line in terms of the transients faults taking place in their line. So all these problems are to be very seriously addressed in AC systems, because AC system basically deals with the frequency related issue. But in case of DC system, it is not necessary for us to have any issue related to the frequency. On the other way, control of the frequencies is not at all necessary, because the very frequency itself is irrelevant in the DC system. So in this way, the control of tie line power, right, is relatively easy in the HVDC transmission systems compared to that of HVAC transmission system. So this is going to be another unique advantage of the HVDC system. So in this way, we have spoken about so many points here. We have started with the cost, right? We have then started talking about the reliability. Then we have spoken about the stability. We have spoken about the circuit breakers, requirement of the circuit breakers, right? Then you have spoken about the requirement. Then you have spoken about the harmonics, right? Then you have spoken about the control of tie line power, right? Tie line power. These are the different points which we have discussed so far in order to make the comparison between HVAC system and HVDC system. Of course, in my subsequent presentations, I will try to summarize these specific points into general points and give you a complete summary of these things. Let us wait for the next presentation. Thank you.